Hi, this is Dr. Carrigan here with my student Grace McGahan, who is in my writing and inquiry class at the University of Tampa this semester, AWR 101. And Grace did a phenomenal job at improving one of her essays. So the essay was an analysis assignment that asked her to take a cultural text. She picked a music video that I'll let her tell us about in a second, and to kind of pose an interpretive problem about it, and then construct a reading and based on the details of the text. And like many students, she had a hard time with that first analysis essay. But unlike many students, she just did a fantastic job figuring out afterwards on a second attempt kind of how to do it, and made just a really significant improvement. And so I asked if Grace, thanks for being here to talk with me about that.
Of course.
So why don't you tell us about the text that you were analyzing first? Is this music video?
Yes. So I chose the music video Ceilings.
Mhm.
It's actually a modern day like pop culture music video, which is actually pretty familiar. It first came across to me on TikTok, and then I recognized it had like a deeper meaning to it. So I kind of chose it to analyze, to break apart and figure out exactly what was going on.
Perfect. So already from the get-go, you had a sense there was something to analyze here. But you that first time wasn't that successful. What trouble did you run into that first analysis essay that you wrote about it?
What I was having trouble with was honestly breaking down the assignment. I didn't quite deep read what was expected of me.
Okay.
And I just like freely wrote it and was expecting it to come together as a whole. And it
Okay.
did not quite get there.
What about it didn't work, do you think?
Um, I don't know, something just really was not clicking with me necessarily how to truly pose a problem.
Okay. So then after you wrote this essay, you and I sat down uh
Mhm.
talk about it. And I think what you had said is that you hadn't really understood the assignment, and that made sense to me based on what you had written. But then you turned around and you got to work on figuring it out. What did you do? How did you figure it out?
Um, I kind of like sat down and I got a notebook and I wrote down exactly what was expected and what was looking for. I pinpointed every single aspect and made sure that I had the requirements to fulfill that. So I started by breaking down, you give us a pretty good guideline on what you're looking for. So I just wrote down each thing and I honestly used your example essay, which also was a great source that was able to help me.
You
And
like studied it.
yeah, I went back and I read it and I said, how can I use this to improve what I did? And then that was a really big part in what was able to help me.
And you showed me your notebook, like kind of the
Mhm.
diagrams and the notes and the
Yeah,
all of the things that did you have diagrams or was I just imagining that?
I don't think
No,
it did not have
okay.
diagrams.
But it was pretty thorough. It was evidence of you. It looked like you like really put the work in to say, all right, what am I not understanding? How do I understand it?
Yes.
Was there a moment where it finally clicked, or was it just like piece by piece you figured it out?
Um, it was more so piece by piece, I figured it out, and then more towards the end, it finally clicked. So when I was doing project number 4, I was doing it piece by piece and it clicked. And then it allowed me to do project 3 and was I like had it all together and I realized exactly what I had to do, what posing a problem was, how to accomplish that, and how to get there.
Oh, so the yeah, it's just for folks watching. It's the analysis essay was project 3. That was the one that you made a huge leap on, and you're saying that it was the subsequent essay
Yeah.
that had some similar requirements that helped you figure it out, and then I gave you the chance to come back
Yes.
and redo. Um, yeah, to kind of give you just a visual sense of the improvement, I printed your essay out here and I marked, I don't know, in yellow the parts that I didn't think were really working, and in purple the parts that were. So that was the first draft. And then the second draft was that way. So you can see just a really big leap forward. So as you wrote it the second time, um, it seemed to me your the central thing that you were looking at, which is the question of in this song and this music video ceilings, it is there's a romantic relationship portrayed, and there were reasons to wonder whether it was a fantasy or whether it was real. And it seemed that that part not as clearly articulated, but that part was still in the first draft. And then in the
Yeah.
second draft was more clearly stated, but almost everything else was rewritten. Um,
Yeah.
so that I think
I
that's really, oh, go ahead.
sorry. I agree with that. When I reread it, I went and looked at it and it came across me like with even within just the first paragraph that it was completely different. And you could see that there was definitely uncertainty in what exactly I was trying to express and get across. And then when I read the second one, then I was like, oh, like each piece like flows with each other, like it makes sense.
I think just that willingness to rewrite so much, not to be committed to that first draft, is worthy to be praised. Um, but then also to rewrite it and to be so successful, that's fantastic. What advice would you give to my future students who are either in the situation of beginning to try to write an analysis essay the first time, or who are in the situation of having tried once and not have been very successful? What advice would you give?
I would say take the extra time, sit down, get a deep understanding of what is expected, what you need to accomplish, pinpoint things that you want to reach and be able to do throughout your essay, rather than just don't sit down the night before and try your best to piece it all together when it's just not going to make sense.
That's great advice. Do you feel, having rewritten the essay, that you have a deeper understanding of or a deeper connection of this music video than you started with?
Yeah, 110%. Actually, originally, the first essay that I wrote, I didn't even really use the music video. So
Mhm.
I think that using a music video allows you to pose an issue and be able to see it a lot clearer.
That makes sense. Um, how do you feel about the improvement that you've made?
I'm happy. I think improvement's always a positive thing. So it's a good
I am too.
thing.
Uh, do you have any last things to say about this project or your process or how you figured things out?
I think in the future, the overall advice that I would give to future students, I would take for myself as well, and just to try and put everything together and not rush it and be able to take the time that's needed.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, thanks so much,
Thank
and
you.
so long.